Hello students, I am Mahima Lahariya from Vijayanagar College, Hospet, Karnataka. So today we will study the redox potential and the standard redox potential. As we can see that the word redox is the combination of the two terms, that is red plus ox. We can say it is red from the reduction and ox from the oxidation is taken, and we can combine this word to make it a redox. So the redox is a combination of the two terms red and ox. We can also write it as oxidation reduction potential. As we already studied the definitions of oxidation and the reduction in my previous video, so just we can look what is oxidation. Oxidation is the loss of electron, and what is reduction? Reduction is the gaining of electron. We have already discussed those who loses the electrons are reducing agent, who gains the electrons are oxidizing agent. We have discussed the example. Mostly all the electropositive elements like our metals are good reducing agents, and our non-metals like fluorine, halogens are very good oxidizing agent. Then we can say what is the definition of redox potential. So we can define it as what is the meaning of potential? Potential is something like power, we can say ना, कितना power होता है किसी के पास, कितनी ताकत है. So we can say that the potential is the tendency of a reactant to donate or accepts the electron. Means it is the tendency of any reactant to donate or to accept the electron as its potential. So we can say in the terms of the redox potential, it is the measure of ease with which a molecule or any species will lose or accept the electron. So what is redox potential? It is the measure of ease with which a molecule will lose or accept the electron. Means simple, if a molecule lose the electrons, oxidation is taking place, and we can say the molecule is getting oxidized and it is acting as a reducing agent. Now we can see this with the help example of the simple reaction. And we have already discussed, as redox is made up of two terms, reduction and oxidation. So we can also say this as a redox reactions, in which oxidation and the reactions will take place together. So it is a simple example I have taken. Suppose our sodium reacts with the chlorine and it will give NaCl. And how it forms sodium? And we already know the atomic number of sodium is 11, so the configuration is 281, 1 electron extra, so it can easily lose 1 electron. And what is the atomic number of chlorine? We already know it is 17, so we can write the simple configuration as 287, and if it will lose 1 electron, it can accept 1 electron easily. So we can see the loss of 2 electrons will be done by the 2 sodium atoms, and 2 Ns plus will form and Cl will accept. So as a result of the reaction between the sodium and the chlorine, our sodium chloride is formed. It's a Na plus and Cl minus. So here the loss of electrons by sodium and the oxidation is taking place, and the gaining of electron by the chlorine ion. So it is a reduction. We can just write it them. Sodium in the two steps. Sodium loses the 2 electrons and it converts into the Na plus oxidized, and chlorine accepts the 2 electron and it gets reduced to Cl minus ion. Now we can say that these are the simple 2 steps. We have written this in the 2 steps. The first step, as the loss of electrons is taking place, so we can say this as an oxidation half reaction, and in the second one, the gaining of electrons, so it is a reduction half reaction. So we can also define it as every redox reaction. This is an example of your redox reaction. So every redox reaction according to the electronic concept. Why electronic concept? Here we are just talking in the terms of electron losing or gaining. So consist of the 2 reactions, and these are known as the half reactions. And first is when the loss of electron takes place, it is your oxidation half reaction, and where the gaining of electron takes place, it is your reduction half reaction. So these two, oxidation half reaction and the reduction half reactions together, are termed as the redox reactions, and whenever the 2 half reactions are added together, the sum is the net redox reaction. So this is an example of your redox reaction. We can just say that sodium loses the electron, it get oxidized, and as it is losing the electron, it is acting as your reducing agent. Means sodium lose the electron, it gets oxidized to Na plus ion, and it is a reducing agent. Chlorine gains the electron, it gets reduced to Cl minus ion, and it is acting as an oxidizing agent. And where the transfer of electrons takes place in this process, in this redox reactions, the transfer of electrons takes place from the reducing agent to the oxidizing agent. Means donor to acceptor, same na. So who is donating here? Our sodium atom is a oxidized to Na plus, it is a reducing agent, and it is the electron is transferred from reducing agent to the oxidizing agent. And we can say in overall redox reaction, no free electrons are generated. Means extra electrons are not there. Means if the electrons are generating, they are accepted by another species. As we know that in the oxidation reduction reactions or in the redox reactions, the oxidation and the reduction process are taking side by side. Means as the electrons are lost, they will be accepted by the another species or another molecule. We can also define this as, if we talk about the word oxidation potential. So what is oxidation potential? If a species loses the electron, it get oxidized. So how fast the species lose the electron to get oxidized, or we can say that the tendency to get oxidized is known as the oxidation potential, and the tendency to get reduced is known as the reduction potential. How we can define the oxidation potential and the reduction potential? Oxidation potential is the tendency to get oxidized, means how fast you lose the electrons, and what is the reduction potential? It is the tendency to accept the electrons or to get reduced. So define the redox reaction in the terms of the oxidation number, or we can say that the oxidation and the reduction can also be defined as, if we see again this reaction of NaCl, formation of the NaCl, means when the sodium reacts with the chlorine, it forms the Na plus and the Cl minus ion. So how does it goes? When the sodium loses the electrons, means the oxidation process takes place. But if in the terms of oxidation number, if we will talk, the oxidation number of sodium changes from 0 to +1, means it lose 1 electron, so it will have the +1 change. So we can say that if the oxidation number is increasing, this is the oxidation. And if we talk about the chlorine oxidation number decreases from 0 to -1. So we can say that in a process, if the oxidation number increases, the process is oxidation, and if the oxidation number decreases, that is your reduction. So we can say that the reactions in which the oxidation numbers of an element gets changed are the redox reactions. Means in any redox reactions, we need two reactants. The oxidation number of one reactant will increase, and the oxidation number of the other reactants species will get decreased. So what is the oxidation number? I hope all the students knows. Just I will give an example of oxidation number. So the oxidation number is a measure of extent of oxidation of an element in its compounds. Means with the help of oxidation number, we can find out that how much the oxidation is taking place, means how much electrons are lost or gained in that particular reaction. So we can find the oxidation number of manganese in the KMnO4 here. I hope all students are knowing. So to find out the oxidation number of Mn here, so first we should know the oxidation number of our oxygen and potassium here. If the two species numbers are known, we can identify for the third. So how we will go there? The oxidation number of the oxygen is here -2, and oxidation number of potassium is here +1. We all know these from our previous knowledge, we should know. Then what is manganese? We have to find out for the manganese. So what we will do, if we consider for the manganese as X, so we can calculate in this way. For potassium it is +1, for our oxygen it is -2, and there are 4 oxygens, so we will write it like 4 into -2. So we will have here, so for X, here what we are getting, here we will get our -8, and this is our +1. So we calculating it, so we will get it as a +7 here. Okay, then next compound, to find out the oxidation number of the chromium here. So as we again, for the potassium it is our +1, and for the oxygen it is -2. So we will multiply, and the chromium are 2 units here, so we will take 2x. So -2 into 7, so we will have 14 plus 2x plus our 1, means we will have here -14. So when we will calculate for it, we will get for it is 2 here, so we will take 2x, the oxidation number will be 2 here. So to calculate the oxidation number of the chromium here, so what we will write, 2 plus -14, directly we can write, so the 2x is equals to 14 minus 2, so x is equals to 12 by 2, so we will get +6 for the our chromium in the K2Cr2O7. So to find out the oxidation number, we should know the basic oxidation number, then only we can find out the oxidation number of the given species. Now we will see the redox reactions can be classified. We can just study the redox reactions in the two ways broadly, as directly or the indirectly. Means if the redox reaction is taking place directly, means we can say that if we talk about the direct redox reaction, means a single electrode, means we dip a redox reaction is allowed to take directly in a single beaker, the solutions becomes hot. Means if we talk about the direct redox reactions, in this the energy evolves in the form of the heat, and we cannot convert it into the electrical energy. And if we talk about the indirect redox reactions, so these redox reactions can be taken place in the two single beakers, and we can couple them indirectly with the help of any salt bridge, and the chemical energy which is generating here, that can be converted into the electrical energy. So the redox reactions are classified into two categories, directly and indirectly. If we talk about the direct redox reactions, there we take a single electrode in a single beaker, means we will take one electrode in a beaker. And for example, this I have taken two examples here, when the zinc rod is dipped in the copper sulfate solution, and a copper rod is dipped in the silver nitrate solution. So let us see what the reactions are going on here. So when the zinc rod, this is a type of displacement reaction, when the zinc rod is dipped in the copper sulfate solution, so what happens here is the zinc oxidation will take place on the zinc, means zinc will lose the electrons, and it will displace the copper from the copper sulfate solution. So we will get the copper particles near our this zinc rod, and we will see the reaction. When the zinc reacts with the copper sulfate, it will give you the zinc sulfate plus the copper, and in this process the zinc gives the oxidation takes place on the zincs, and we will have the electrons which are released by Zn will give the 2 electrons, and these electrons will be accepted by the copper, and the copper will get copper from the solution will get converted to the metallic copper. Okay. As you have seen in the video, the copper rod is dipped in the silver nitrate solution. So what this copper will do, the oxidation takes place on the copper, means copper will lose the electrons, and they will displace the silver ions from the solution, and the silver particles are accumulated near the copper rod. Now we can see the reactions. When the copper reacts with the silver nitrate solution, it will form the copper nitrate, and it will give the pure metallic silver in the solid form. Now we can just conclude that direct reactions, redox reactions, can take place in a single beaker, and the chemical energy is converting into the heat. On the other hand, if we talk about the indirect redox reactions, the chemical energy which is produced by the redox reactions is converted into the electrical energy, and the device which is used to convert the chemical energy into the electrical energy is termed as the electrochemical cell. And in electrochemical cell we will see in the details in our next part. Thank you for watching. Now let us consider our indirect redox reactions, or we can say that if the redox reactions will take place indirectly, we can convert the chemical energy into the electrical energy. So a device which is used to convert the chemical energy produced in a redox reaction into the electrical energy is termed as our electrochemical cell, or the galvanic cell, or the voltaic cell. These are also told as the galvanic cell or the voltaic cell is the name of their Luigi Galvani in 1780, and our Alexandra Volta in 1800 first used these cells. And now we can see the representation of these cells. We have taken our one zinc electrode, zinc metal, zinc rod is dipped in the solution of the ZnSO4. So it is our anode compartment, and it is made up of another compartment that is our cathode part. And in this, a copper electrode is dipped in the solution of the copper sulfate solution, and both these electrodes, this is our half, we can say this is our half part and this is another half part, so we can combine both these half part with the help of a salt bridge. So salt bridge is filled with the solution of, we can say that it is filled with the solution of the KCl, our KNO3, potassium nitrate, potassium chloride, and the ammonium nitrate. And it also, we can connect this two compartment with the help of our circuit. It means we can have one voltmeter or ammeter here, and a key is there. So we can just see the electrochemical cell made up of two compartment. One is our anode compartment, other is the cathode compartment, or we can say that two electrodes. First is our zinc electrode. Zinc is dipped in the solution of the zinc sulfate, and copper is dipped in the solution of the copper sulfate. They are connected with the help of the salt bridge, and externally they are connected with a key and a voltmeter. Now we will see that in our zinc electrode, the zinc rod is there. So as the circuit will start, as we will connect them with the help of the voltmeter. So what happens here, the zinc on the zinc electrode, our zinc has a metal has a tendency to move in the solution as its ion, so it will lose the electrons, and these electrons, with the help of the salt bridge, or we can say that these electrons will be accepted by the copper. Means oxidation takes place on the zinc, so zinc will lose 2 electrons and it will be accepted by the Cu2 plus, and it will as the copper sulfate is in the ionized form, so we can say that there are too many Cu2 plus ions, and this Cu2 plus ions will accept these 2 electrons and will get reduced to the Cu metal. And as a result of this, our the zinc rod will have a reduction in the weights, and this the weight of the copper rod will get increased. So we can say that in these two cells, oxidation takes place in the zinc and the reduction takes place on the cathode compartment. And this term, as the electrons are generated here, and we can say this is a negative pole and these are accepted here, so we can term as a the positive pole. So in this the electrons start flowing from our anode towards the cathode, and the current will flow from the cathode towards the anode. We can say that in this zinc copper voltaic cell, the electrons are released at the anode and it will become negatively charged, and the negative electrode pushes the electrons through the outer external circuit by the electrical repulsions. The copper electrodes get the positive charge due to the discharge. So many Cu2 plus ions are discharged here, so it will get the positively charged. Thus the electrons from the external circuit are attracted by the copper electrode. The flow of the electrons through the circuit is determined by the push of the electrons. This anode will produce the electrons, so it will push towards the cathode, and as the attraction of the electrons by the cathode, means the two forces are acting, means it will flow the electrons and it will attract the electron. So these two forces constitute the driving forces, or we can say that the electrical pressure that sends the electrons through the circuit. And as a result of this driving force creates the electromotive force or the cell potential, and this electromotive force is we can say that it is our cell EMF and the cell potential. Now we will see how we can represent these two electrodes reactions. So we can say that oxidation takes place on the zinc electrode. Zinc loses the 2 electrons and these are accepted by the Cu2 plus, which is formed as a result of the ionization of the copper sulfate, and this will accept the electrons and will get reduced. So overall cell reaction, zinc plus copper ions will give the zinc ions plus the copper. Solid copper is there, so we have already told the weight of the copper plate will get increased and the zinc will get reduced. And so the zinc, this is known as oxidation half cell and this is known as the reduction half cell. As already discussed, because of the two forces, the electromotive force is produced, and we can say that the electromotive force as a cell potential also, and the unit of the electromotive force is the volt, or we can also say it is a cell voltage. Now once again we will see the diagram. The electrochemical cell is made up of two parts, that is our anode and the cathode. Oxidation takes place at anode and it is termed as the negative pole, as electrons are released negatively charged, and the cathode is termed as the it is known as our reduction half cell, and it accepts the electrons from the zinc, it accepts the electrons as the current flows from the cathode towards anode and the electrons flows from the anode towards the cathode. And already discussed the electromotive force. Now we can see how the cell is represented. A galvanic cell is represented with the, we can just say that the metal is in contact with the metal ion, we can say. So there is a single line representation when any, so here the zinc is in contact with the ZnSO4 solution and the copper metal is in contact with the copper sulfate solution. So single line is used, and to represent the salt bridge we use the two vertical lines. So we can just say the salt bridge. What is the salt bridge? It is a U-tube shaped and it is filled with the inert solution of the potassium chloride, potassium nitrate or the ammonium nitrate, and the function of the porous plug is there, and we can say that the main function of the salt bridge is to maintain the neutrality of the solutions, and it also completes the electrical circuit. So we can just say after the cell representation, the electromotive force or the cell EMF can be calculated by subtracting the EMF of the electrode potential, the value of the potential of the anode from the cathode, or we can also say that the cell EMF can be represented by the E equals to E right minus the E left, means E is this is our electrode potential values. So we can say that to get the potential values of the cell, we can just subtract the electrode potential of the right hand electrode by the left hand electrode. Here we have taken the cathode as a copper electrode and the anode as our zinc electrode. But so we can just define the cell EMF as it is a difference between the electrode potential of the two half cells, is known as the cell potential or the EMF. So we will just study in the detail about the electrode potential values. For the sake of convenience, we can say that as here our cathode is reduction potential, we will get the values, and from the anode we will have the oxidation potential, as the oxidation takes place at the anode and the reduction takes place at the cathode. But the sake of convenience, we mostly use the reduction potential values, and we will see the details of the reduction potential.